Welcome in everybody to Fantasy Pros MLB. This is Leading Off Live, brought to you by PrizePicks. Join PrizePicks today. Sign up with the promo code Leading Off, and you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100. So download the app, go to PrizePicks.com. I am Joey P. I am tired today. Yesterday was a long evening of the NFL Draft. 5 straight hours of commercial-free football. That's what we had over at Fantasy Pros. It was a great draft, a lot of fun. Chris Welsh did not have to do 5 straight hours of football. He got to sit back and enjoy the draft.
My favorite part about the draft 2 coverage was very professional. It was very well done. I wanted to be a part of it just because it was so well done. My favorite part, though, was Joe in almost like a full-on suit and every single other person in a hoodie. That was my favorite part. It was like Friedman and Derek Brown, backwards hats, hoodies on. Well, one of the Russell, I think, was sitting on a couch wearing a t-shirt, and Joe is a full-on suit with like the pocket thing.
I class up the joint. That's what I do. And I told everybody that's what I was going to do. I encouraged them all to do it with me. And of course, none of them did. And I said,
not
look,
a
boys,
single one. Erickson might have actually, now that I'm thinking about it.
Erickson had a collared shirt.
Yeah.
So he actually had a shirt with a collar. So Erickson, I'm starting to pull along with me a little bit. But, it's an NFL draft. I mean, everyone's wearing, their classy stuff. There you go. No. Dr. Glenn saying, dress for the job you want, not the job you got. Well, I actually want the job I've got, but I want to just, it's NFL draft. Let's do something special. It's always a special day here on our show also over at Fantasy Pros MLB. Leading off, always a good time. There's lots of baseball to get to, so let's get after it, Welsh. And let's start with the headline of despite giving up 5 runs in 6 innings, Shohei Ohtani got his 4th win yesterday. Really? A weird game, obviously, for Ohtani. So he basically nearly hit for the cycle. He had one really weird inning and then kind of bounced back. But the most important thing is he hit the 8 strikeout mark, not over the 8.5. So we cashed on that. So once again, the big number comes in the under. See that?
I was watching that game for a lot of different reasons, but what was funny, it was one inning that destroyed him. He gave up multiple homers, A's in here. I think it was like Langoliers and Rooker or whatever. And he just completely fell apart in that inning. And I think I mentioned it on here. I've been a little bit obsessed, and I'm trying to find the right one with a ladder bet. It's like a ladder match, Joe, but the ladder bet with strikeouts.
Listening.
And you know what a ladder bet is, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm just joking because it's a wrestling thing.
Well, Frank Stanfill and I are both kind of obsessed with it. So we're texting and we're trying to find the guy, and we're going to do it together. And yesterday we were talking about Ohtani, but we were both like, I know it's the A's. Everyone feels like they're going to strike out 13. So we talked through it, and we're like, we're not going to do it. And we did the same thing with Shane McClanahan. Both would have been big fails. So we are insanely smart for not doing it. But I was dialed in because I wanted to see if, where the gut was on the actual performance. And he did fall short of the 8.5K prop. And it was that one really dirty, messy inning against the A's.
Yeah, a messy day too. Urias blew my parlay, jerk. I don't know what he's trying to do there. Explain to the people about the ladder bet for those who don't know or understand what that is.
Yeah. So let's say Ohtani's prop, it was really way too high, but it's one you could technically do today with Jacob deGrom if you want. It was 8.5. So what you in theory would do, and Chris Meany like a week ago did like this really great breakdown of it, and it was with Ohtani, and it was a huge cash day. So let's say it's at 8.5. And you got to have the alt strikeouts. And let's say 8 strikeouts is minus 170. Okay. 2 units there. Then you go to 9 strikeouts, and let's say that's minus 110. You do maybe 1.5 units. Then you go to, what was that? 10 strikeouts. That's plus probably 170, 180, something like that. Now you would go a unit. 11 strikeouts, you'd put half a unit. 12 strikeouts, you would put 1/4 of a unit. And it's usually about 5 bets you go. And the assumption is that the player is going to smash what that current prop is set at, but it's obviously difficult. You got to find the right guy. Like a week and a half ago, Matt Strom, when he was projected at like 6 and he struck at 11, that would have been a killer smashing ladder bet, but you got to invest because you're probably putting 4 units onto one thing. So it's just finding the right guy, and I'll keep looking out there, Joe.
There might be one today because I went on an entire monologue yesterday about why the 8.5 has been too high all year. But today, with Jacob deGrom and the circumstance he's in, I think I might I might be changing my tune with that specific one. More on that to come as hopefully Welsh unfreezes from his internet. We shall see. There he is. He's unfrozen now. You're slowly catching back up. While we catch it back up, Manny Machado was dropped to the 5th spot in the batting order. He is hitting a $129, 4 for his last 31 going into his last 8 games, a 526 OPS. So obviously, things have not gone well for Manny Machado. We continue to talk about trading for him. I still say that is the case. It's still where I'm going. And I know we've talked about this. We got the trade chart over at fantasypros.com. You can check that out. But it is a difficult situation because you are looking at dealing for a third baseman and have to have a third baseman there. I continue to say if you've got Chapman, if you've got Muncy, 2 of those third basemen who are just well above where they should be, even for a breakout great season, that it's going to come crashing down. Those are the kind of guys you build the Manny Machado package around. What do you think about that? Those 2 guys specifically, and trying to pull either him or even Nolan Arenado, who you could throw into this bin also, of third basemen who have been very disappointing in month 1.
Yeah, I'm definitely like a buy on Manny Machado. Arenado's interesting. The team, it's been a whole team thing. The entire team has been struggling. They haven't been hitting. I'm in on Manny Machado. Here's one kind of interesting one for this weekend. Go and check it out. Derek Carty on Twitter put out a really interesting thread about how the BatX projected model for this weekend for these games that are going to go into Mexico with San Diego have a total run around 17 on the BatX because of the high elevation. The elevation in Mexico is like way higher than in Colorado. And you're going to see like some big offensive totals that are going to come out, and books are kind of not sure what to do yet. I'm saying all this to say, like, there's a really good environment, offensive environment for guys to maybe get going. And this might be a really good place for maybe Manny Machado to start a streak going on. And you want to get ahead of these guys. Like, I'm worried about Juan Soto. I've been saying kind of buy him, but I don't know.
I'm buying Juan Soto.
I'm a little bit worried about the approach of what's going on right now. Can't hit lefties, but Manny Machado is such a buy for me for him to get going. So I love the idea of what you said. Whatever packages you got to do to get both of these players, sure. But Manny Machado would be a priority, and he might get going this weekend. If that happens, cost is going to kind of go away.
Juan Soto, since he's gone over to the Padres, has not been the same Juan Soto. Is that something that we can both agree on, right? Because if you look, here you go. Here are the splits. I just brought it up here to look at it. Juan Soto as a Washington National. Here's the slash: 291, 427, 538 with a 966 OPS. As a San Diego Padre, which now is up to 79 games, so half a season, 218, 373, 375 slugging, a 748 OPS. That's a 200-point difference in OPS as a Padre opposed to a Washington National. Do you think it has to do with the West Coast sight lines of the ballpark? Does it have to do with him pressing? Like, I can't figure out why this is, because this was one of the absolute slam dunk best players in baseball. And then he's gone to San Diego, and he has been anything but that over these last 80 games.
I think I could like sit here. I think you could do the same thing. We could sit here and like probably come up with like all these different like mental or these different reasons of like what could be here or there. We could speculate. It seems very mental to me. Here, interesting stat from this year is his XBA is the worst of his career. That was expected batting average. He's got a 183 batting average, which is insane. His expected batting average is better, by the way, by about 50 points, but it's a 238. That's the worst of his career, except he's hitting the ball harder than he's ever hit it in his career, 56%. But it's been a lot of ground balls. He cannot hit fastballs right now, and that's his problem. And I think he's cheating. Last year, hit 292 against fastballs, 204 this year. And it looks like the focus has been, trying to hit breaking pitches. So I don't know how that's going to adjust. You could argue you're playing with like a much higher scale of talent around you, though he did play with Bryce Harper for a bit. I have a hard time understanding it. The only thing you can do is know this is a insanely talented player that's going to end up getting this fixed. He's hitting the ball crazy hard, which is like a really good underlying thing for them to fix it. It's just at what level. And I think people are panicking about him. That's why he is a buy. And Machado, I think both of these guys are buys. I just have to admit though, that like the level of where Soto's at and it extending across really has me like worried. It does.
And I understand you make some good arguments. I'm going to continue to think he is better than what we've seen in his Padre days. And I mean, we have seen this before. There's been guys who go to teams and get traded, and then they just don't, for whatever reason, don't perform well in that environment.
Machado, I think, struggled in his first move from Baltimore
Yeah, but
over
we're
to
up to
San
80
Diego.
games now of
I
Juan
know.
Soto. This is a half.
Well, that's
a
why I'm saying
season
I'm worried. That's why I'm saying like this is kind of a worry. It won't stop me from buying because that's kind of the crazy person I am. I would still buy because I think people are freaked out about Soto, but I'm a little bit worried. Like, what level is this? Has Soto gone from a potential like batting title champion to maybe he's a 260, 270 hitter who could still, 30 homers, and he's in an insane environment around, guys like Tatis and Machado where he can score runs. But
but Welsh, the problem is that, he's got a contract looming. So he's got to figure this out here. He's got to figure it out fast, because if he doesn't, if you're going to have, at the end of the day, it's going to be about 200 plus games that he's going to have as a San Diego Padre when all said and done, when he hits free agency.
Yeah.
That's going to be an issue. If the last go, people are going to look at that and still look at the age and say something's wrong with this player, something's wrong. So it's an interesting piece right now. There's a question here in the chat. Can I move George Springer for a decent pitcher, for Juan Soto? That's from Trent. I don't think you can. I don't think that's enough. I think you need a better outfielder than George Springer, who's perennially hurt. But again, it's just a really interesting.
Well, I did say
I'd still be buying,
pitcher,
but I don't think that's enough. Like I'm a Juan Soto manager. If you give me like Sonny Gray and I'm just saying, like there's a guy who's been more than decent so far this year. Sonny Gray and George Springer. I'm not dealing Juan Soto. Like I'm gonna wait this.
Well, I was gonna say, what if it was Springer and like Logan Gilbert?
Nah, it's still Soto.
Okay.
I mean, it's fair, but
I think there's some sinking teams that would consider that outside of like Springer getting hit on the hand the other day. I think that people like revs up people getting worried again, but I don't know. I think there's some people worried out there enough. If you were to give them that depth package, I think people would move on in
redraft. But you know what? I always want the elite player. The depth is great and all, but I want the elite player. That's what I want.
Yeah, best player in the trade for me always.
Yeah, as much as you can. And sometimes you can't afford to. Like sometimes if you got multiple stars and you don't have enough depth, and you do have to make one of those kind of moves. But you got to get like close to 1A talent back. The Braves activated Michael Harris from the 10-day IL, so that's good in time for this Mets series coming up. Tyler Mahle was removed from the Thursday game against the Royals due to right posterior elbow soreness. So Twins pitchers dropping like flies in the last few days. Aaron Judge was removed again Thursday due to right hip discomfort. He's striking out a ton this year too. Can we just say that too? Just look at Judge strike.
Well, that's also part of the like DeGrom stuff we'll talk about. Yeah. I don't know if he's in the lineup today because
now you're starting to smell what the Rock is cooking here.
Yeah.
Kenta Maeda will likely require a trip to the IL. No kidding. The MRI showed a muscle strain and some inflammation, but no structural damage. So that's I think as good a news you can expect if you're the Twins. The Reds put Will Myers on the IL, but good news here. You get Raisel Iglesias working his way back. And you also get Justin Verlander with a rehab start today for AA. So there you go. Hopefully we'll all hold our breath and things will go well on that front. If you're looking for 3 up and 3 down, we've got to hear Brett Beatty 3 for 3 with a homer and a walk as the Mets have a comeback. Brandon Lau. I am so mad that I didn't have more Brandon Lau. He was so cheap, and I kept looking at him on draft boards going, what's to stop me from he is such a great value and great power. 3 for 4, another home run, 3 RBI for him yesterday in the big 14-5 shellacking of the White Sox. And Mitch Keller ruined my parlay along with Julio Urias. 10 strikeouts for him, 2 runs over 6 innings. Is Mitch Keller starting to emerge as the guy that we were hoping he would become someday?
I think all those guys are. Look at all those. Well, I'm not all those guys, but like all the
hey, they've had 3 good
pitchers.
starters here. Yeah.
But also it's going to turn. I know it's going to turn, but right now the Dodgers are a team you can pick on with strikeouts.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's quite caught up where like the books treat them like the Reds or the Tigers, but it's like you can pick on that team for guys that can pump the zone. Also, if you look at his the spray chart in the zone, he was just pitching all inside the zone too. Guys just were having bad hacks at it, just swinging through pitches. So Mitch Keller has definitely changed the arsenal, and that's been good. But the Dodgers are playing like a next level bad as far as how they're approaching strikeouts right now.
Continuing on here with the downs. Julio Urias, boo, 6 runs over 5 2/3.
Stank.
Boo! Hard boo for you, Julio Urias. Julio Burias. That's your name today, my friend. That's right.
Got him, Joe.
Yeah, I owned him. Oh, please, Julio. You know, it's funny about Urias. Like, I like Julio Urias as a pitcher, but I am nowhere near as excited about him as some other people are. Like that, he is an absolute ace. This like he is good, but I mean, even going into the season, if he asked me what I had Urias or Castillo, it's not. There's no hesitation me saying Castillo.
Let me ask you this.
Okay.
It's really funny you brought this up. I was doing the CBS Fantasy Baseball Today podcast, and we were talking about Zach Gallen, and it was said that that was Frank. I don't know if Towers did it, but Frank had said Urias over Gallen rest of season. I was like,
well, that's just wrong.
No way. I was like, no way. This is Gallen is above, or it was like in the same area, in the same tier. And I think he's like a level above. And I like Julio.
There's no way you could see the end of Zach Gallen's season last year and not have wanted Zach Gallen over Urias. I mean, then you weren't really paying attention to the numbers. And I'm not saying Chris isn't paying attention. Chris is great, but I'm just saying like it's this hope. And I think it's because Urias we've had around so long because he was like 11 years old when he was pitching in AA and everybody was so excited. Like, look at this guy. He's always playing up. And we've been hearing. And again, it's not that he's a bad pitcher, but like when you want to anoint a guy as an ace, that's a very rarefied air. And I don't like to
he's been better though. Well, I'll say that. Well, I'll push back a little bit to say like he has been better this year. I mean, he has been really solid. It's just that last start absolutely blew up. I think it was like the most runs he's given up over, I don't even remember what time it was, but the batting average, he's got like a 350 batting average against his fastball this year. And that's like it's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. But yeah, I'm a Gallen over
isn't even in the top 25 in ERA right now in Major League Baseball.
Yeah, well, not after that start. If you would have looked at the start before, it might have been a little bit different.
Well, but I mean, look, there's been some guys who've had some bad starts. I mean, not everybody's been perfect here. I'm just saying.
Yeah, Gallen got lit up in his first.
Gallen got lit up.
Remember, you were ready to sell him. You're like,
I wasn't. I was saying we have to know where we're going because I was worried he was hurt because there was a couple there. I was like, okay, if there's an injury, and Gallen's had injury history, so that was my whole point with Gallen, which is I'm a buy on Gallen, but you have to look at your circumstances of your team and make sure you can take on that risk. That was the conversation. His ERA is at 2.15 now, by the way. So that's pretty darn good. Here are the downs besides Urias. Zach Greinke, 7 earned runs in 3.2 innings. I can't believe, well, he's just hanging on for the long term, isn't he, Zach Greinke? You gotta hand it to old Zach. Like he's
just a swan song, though.
Is it?
It's a swan song. I mean, when you throw like a 67 mile an hour curveball and you throw 88, maybe it's not. You could.
I don't know, man. He's got Jamie Moore.
Prices on guac is going up, so I know he's got to cover that.
Well, it's tough out there in the streets. Dylan Cease, 9 hits, 6 earned runs, and a homer. He falls to another loss as well. So that's the losers from yesterday. There you go. But fortunately, we have winners, and we want to pick more winners. We want you to pick more winners on PrizePicks. Use that promo code leading off, run to prizepicks.com, or just, walk your fingers over to the app, download, and of course, you'll get a 100% deposit match up to $100 at PrizePicks when you use the promo code leading off. Welsh, what do you have for the boys and girls today in the prize picking?
I'm switching it up. I am going with the loser pool today. And what I mean by that is we are playing all the unders. We're going under the sea. Everything is under for fantasy scores today. This is the Little Mermaid. Bregman, score, under, fantasy score. And you know how I did this too is I went and played some BVP and looked at guys who absolutely struggle on their versus pitchers today. So we went Bregman underscore, Santander score, under, and Schwarber, who's going up against a lefty, score under. So Bregman, Santander, Schwarber, all fantasy scores, all under. That's my plan.
All right. I've got some overs. That's what I got. So you went the unders, I went the overs. I know I said what I said yesterday, but about the 8.5 strikeout being a number, you typically just want to go under every time you see it. But in this circumstance against the Yankee lineup, they got a lot of youth in it, and Aaron Judge striking out a ton. Jacob deGrom at home here against the Yankees on the road. It's 8.5. I think you can get over it.
I will tell you, I was going to do this. It is now 9. So I hate
it's a good thing I locked it in at 8.5.
It has already moved to 9 for everybody because I was going to join you in this when it was 8.5. I was like, yes, sir. But that has moved.
This is why you got to get up early. Bird gets the worm, not the Ryan Wormley worm, but like the regular worm, the good prize picking worm. Also, you got the combos. I finally got some combos on the sheet this morning. Jeez. It only took me till like the end of April. Alek Manoah and Castillo, 11.5 strikeouts for the pitchers. over. Aaron Nola and Framber Valdez, 12.5 pitcher strikeouts combined, over. So I like those two overs there. So I'm the over king today. Let's talk about some bets. Bettingpros.com/leading off. Yesterday's NFL bets, by the way. I had 3 major investments. 2 came to fruition, 2 of the 3, which was the Patriots taking a corner, which they did with their first pick, and CJ Stroud still going number 2 overall, despite all the nonsense noise. Stick to your guns. Stay true. Stay true to what your eyes tell you. Don't listen to all these nonsense.
I saw Erickson hit a 60-1 too on Jahmyr Gibbs going to the Lions. It was 60-1.
And he hit it today. That. He invested it right before the show. He saw it come across and he bet it yesterday. Yeah, yesterday on the show, right before. It was tremendous. All right, so today I've got a 3-leg parlay for you. Parlay of the day. Miami on the money line. This is a tight number there. And I know Stroman's been good. I'm just going to go with Luzardo here. I'm just going to take the better odds. This is the kooky one. The rest is easy. The Detroit Tigers, Eduardo Rodriguez has pitched very well. They're at plus 110. Taking the Tigers, taking the Rangers at minus 215 against the Yankees and Clark Schmidt today. So Marlins, Tigers, Rangers, put it together, you get plus 497. And again, it's a little dicier than some of the other ones I've thrown out recently. But, sometimes when you play it safe like yesterday, you go, all right, Dodgers and Urias, even if he's mediocre, they get the win. No, not the case. So I am going to go ahead with that. I'm also going the over, as I said, on Betting Pros, the 8.5. I already locked that in on Jacob deGrom in my early bets this morning over on BP. So follow me on there when you download the app. That way you can be ahead of the curve before these numbers move. Eduardo Rodriguez, 4.5 strikeouts, over. It's ridiculous, minus 142 on BP. Max Fried, over 4.5 strikeouts too. You're getting that one as well. Those are easy gimme numbers. What are you giving the people on the betting side today for the game?
Yeah. By the way, on your parlay, the only adjustment I might make if I were making it is maybe moving that Tigers to like a first 5, like a Tigers money line first 5 or something like that. Just because
look, if they could just get to Lang has gotten better recently, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. No, these are good ones.
Rough start, but getting better.
Jacob deGrom, I'm with you on the strikeouts. I bet it solo. It's minus like 130, which is actually a pretty good number. Obviously, maybe they're thinking he's not going to go deep into it. It's just such a huge number in general. So I'm going to go with that one. Sticking with it, I've got a little strikeout parlay. I'm going with Grayson Rodriguez strikeouts and Jacob deGrom. I know you like Eduardo today, but the Tigers strike out a ton. Grayson has struck out 6+, and I think all but one of his starts. So I'm pairing those two together, deGrom and Grayson. I get plus 170. I'm also going back. Jinx it, but I've been very good on the team totals through the first 5, and I'm going to go with the Texas Rangers team total runs, 2.5 runs over the first 5 innings up against the Yankees and Clark Schmidt. I believe Clark Schmidt has only not given up 3 runs in one start this season. So he has got lit up. Great thing in the chat came up, by the way, Joe. My number 1 road snack are combos. I don't eat combos ever else in my entire life. I don't touch them. But when I go on a road trip, some reason I get to a gas station and combos look like the best thing on the
planet.
They're
crunchy, they're filling, they're very textural, if that's a word. I think it is. I get that. And also it's
cheese.
It's not something you're looking for, but when you're in the Wawa or the 7-Eleven or wherever the hell you are, the Quick Check, it makes sense because
But it's not even this is what's so interesting too. There's something special about a road trip gas station. Not because you're like,
you're 100% right.
You go to your QTs and stuff that's local. That's one thing. You get on a road, there's nothing around. You're hitting desert for 20 miles and you pull up. That gas station is an oasis and everything else in there looks amazing. Get me a yellow Gatorade. Yep. Oh, I didn't even see that. Give me a yellow Gatorade and an extra sharp cheese combo. And we're going.
That's what I was going to ask.
Me and Matt on a road trip. Gatorade, extra
flood.
sharp cheese combos were golden.
I can't disagree because the combos are good. Are you a pizza flavored combos guy or no?
No, what they smell.
They have like, you get that weird pepperoni garlicky smell, and then you're in the car, and it's
you don't want in the car.
No, trapped in a small space there for a long period of time. Here's one from Sabo's Goggles. Michael Harris is back. I don't know if he is starting though. Are you throwing Michael Harris right back to the Wolves here and starting him against the Mets this weekend if he's in the lineup? I would
too. I mean, it is a lefty today, so there's something to consider. Like if you're looking at like today, that might not be the best. But I don't know. In general, I'm probably not going to try to play like head-to-head daily matchup games with Michael Harris. Just get him back in the lineup, throw him back in.
Especially because of the draft cost you had on him. I mean, he was a 3rd, 4th round pick. Yeah,
Also, what are you replacing him with? Like, are you like, here's an interesting one. If you had like a Jake Swinski's been awesome. Maybe I don't, but if you just have some, jabroni out there, yeah, get Michael Harris back in. Stolen base potential. I think that's something he would do if he can actually get on base and hit a lefty.
Yeah. Also, don't forget, everybody, sorare.com is here. And at fantasypros.com/collect, you can sign up today and build and manage your fantasy MLB team just like a pro and compete against other opponents for worldwide epic rewards and dominance. And unlike other fantasy baseball platforms, Sorare managers truly own their fantasy experience. So scouting, buying, selling, and competing with player cards each and every week. So go check it out right now. So Rare MLB, fantasypros.com/collect. That's where you can go and figure out if the experience is right for you. And I think it's going to be, because I think So Rare is a very cool new platform and a fun way to play baseball in a different way. So the new era has begun here for MLB, and that is So Rare. Let's get to the next bit of the show here, the little DFS talk. DeGrom's 11.4. He's super expensive. I'm okay with it. I'm good. Best Jacob deGrom lineup wins tonight, I think. There's Oppo potential here. Alek Manoah going against Castillo. Castillo is very high price. Manoah turned things around. So Manoah is an interesting Oppo play if you're going to go that route and you're going to save money, because Castillo's 11K as well. Manoah just 9.8. Max Fried 9.4 against the Mets, an even better pivot potentially if you're looking to go down that board. Atlanta, Texas, Arizona. That's where I want to spend money on offense this week. Today, at least, probably for the weekend as well. Joey Meneses, 2.6. Nick Senzel, 2.3 on FD. And Michael Busch, just 2.2. Super cheap there. We'll see if Michael Busch is in the lineup and get some hits going. Now, we've got the weekend home run call going up. Before we get to that, let's take a look at the board. The big board, BHB Daddy at 11. Razor at 11. We got Primetime, Callison, Yoshi Masters all on there. Actually, Prime and Cal have 10. Then Yoshi, Jeremy Hall, Blue Harvester, Sir Sizz, Anibal HD. Is that Anibal Sanchez? Could that be? He's just hanging out, retired, watching
not playing anymore, not going to get suspended for a bunch
and
of
help
games.
us in Miami at 9. So leaderboard's a little stuck right now. I'm going to unstick it this weekend with Jose Ramirez. Let's go. I want to see 4 home runs when I come back here on Monday. I want 1 today, 1 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. That's what I want from Jose Ramirez. I want to tear against the Boston Red Sox. Welsh, where are you going with your home run for the weekend?
All right, well, I'm going to do a little flippy flip here. I'm going to go with Austin Riley on today, on Friday, going up against David Peterson. Good batting average. Again,
you know what's funny, Welsh? This was the first guy I put in.
Oh, Austin was it really?
Riley, and then I took him out for Ramirez. So I'm hoping for you, but I will be a little upset if he does have.
But I'm taking him today on the weekend. So mark this down, whoever marks this, Mayor. On the weekend, Saturday, Sunday, I'm taking Fernando Tatis Jr., and I'm going up with that battle we talked about with the big run totals for this weekend in Mexico. So I'm going to go with Tatis for Saturday and Sunday. Today will simply be Austin Riley.
Here's another important question that needs to be answered. Matt Flood wants to know, extra toasty on your combos? Or
that's fine. Yeah,
I mean, actually, what's the extra toastiness?
Extra toasty Cheez-Its, I think, much better than combo.
I don't like the extra toasty anything.
Oh, really? I mean, I like extra,
like your toast, sharp. Generally, just toast. How do you like your toast?
I don't like it burnt. I'm not a big burnt anything type of guy.
No,
just
I don't like
nice layer. Just a nice.
I want a nice light layer of toast. That's what
It's got to be like the bread dyed. Like it's hard. It's kind of harder. It's crispy. It's not like flopping, but we don't want the crisp.
All right, let's take a quick look here at the end of the month before we close shop today, because we're going to be at the end of April. When we come back, it's going to be a new month. Yes, it is. On Monday, Sonny Gray at the top of the leaderboard, 0.62 ERA. Where will Sonny Gray be this time next month?
It's what as far as ERA?
Yeah, it's 0.62. Give me that number. What is it?
2.78.
That sounds about right to me. I like that one. Looking at the strikeout leaders in Major League Baseball, Zach Gallen at number 1 at 51, Spencer Strider at 49, Shohei Ohtani at 46, and then Garrett Cole over at 44. So a pretty good grouping there. OPS leader right now, obviously, is Max Muncy. These are obviously the top 5 leaders in OPS that we all had going into the season. Max Muncy, Matt Chapman, Brandon Marsh, Jared Kelenic, and Luis Ariz. Right?
Like we wrote it up.
Just like we wrote it out. And if we want to keep going, James Outman, Sean Murphy, and then some guy named Ronald Acuna, who I've never heard of, Yandy Diaz, and Mike Trout, another new guy. So you got Acuna and Trout, two guys from the top grouping of players, right, from the first round. The other 8 in OPS leaders, all guys that went from varying different rounds to even waiver wire ads. Isn't that stunning?
It's, you got to love it. That's the parody. There's a parody of baseball that those players have been some of the best in this entire game right now.
It's my favorite thing. I love it so much. I was going to look back to last April in the hitting category. Here were the top 10 OPS guys. Okay. Taylor Ward, obviously remember his hot streak. Jose Ramirez, Noah Arenado, Manny Machado. Like, these are names that we know.
These are big names.
Right. Anthony Rizzo is in there, JP Crawford, Josh Bell, CJ Crone, and because he had a huge April last year, and Ty France. So obviously April can be a little weird. So just remember that when these assets, like you have got Max Muncy, you have got Matt Chapman right now. You got to be looking ahead, folks. You got to be looking ahead. There's going to be a come down. So don't be there for that. Go trade those assets for better proven talent.
Would you trade Chapman and like a lower pitcher to get Machado?
100%. 100%.
Like,
right
maybe
now.
like a middle pitcher, like a middle-ish pitcher. I understand.
Yeah,
What if Chapman and let's go back to Gilbert. Chapman and Gilbert. You do that for Machado?
Yes, I do. Machado was MVP for the first half of last year. Things will turn around. I don't know what's going on there in San Diego, but maybe Fernando Tatis will come and give everybody some special vitamins and everything will be all right. On that note, we're going to go away for the weekend. Enjoy your weekend. It's going to be rainy and crappy here. I'm sure all the flag football games will get canceled, which I don't want to happen. I want to go out there and coach this weekend, but we shall see if the weather holds out. Hopefully everybody else, you go out there, enjoy yourself, enjoy the baseball games, enjoy the rest of the NFL draft tonight over on our Discord. If you're a premium member, again, fantasypros.com/Discord. It's free to join, but if you go to fantasypros.com/premium, again, the premium is the place to be at Fantasy Pros. You can hang out with Thor, Debro, Scott Bogman, Pat Fitzmaurice. They're going to be breaking down day 2 of the NFL draft for you guys, and I know you love the NFL draft. So that'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you Monday, kids.